Hello everyone, this is Klonoa 2. I've never played the first Klonoa. I'm playing Klonoa 2 because a very close friend of mine, Dulcet, really loves Klonoa 2. And I wasn't too keen on the game at first, thought it was okay, didn't love it. But I love this level. This level is Vulcan Inferno, a level in, I think, the third world? I think this is the third one. So Klonoa 2 is a bit of a weird game. But having played weird 2D platformers before, it wasn't that out there for me. Basically, the idea is that instead of square being an attack button, it grabs and inflates enemies, and from there you can use them to double jump, you can throw them at things right in front of you, behind you, or in the foreground or background, since this is a 2.5D experience. And the fun in the game is seeing how your wind ring interacts with various objects, your wind ring being the thing that grabs and inflates enemies. Just so, you know, that's basically it. It's a platformer where instead of an attack button, you get a platforming mechanic. A platforming mechanic that interacts with other mechanics in dynamic and interesting ways. We just grabbed a fairy, which increases the amount of score we get from picking up these dream stones, which are the little green gems and blue gems you see me grabbing. They may not seem important to grab, but trying to grab all 150, sometimes they're a little over 150, but usually there's 150 in a level, is where the real challenge in the game comes from. If you try and play the game without collecting all the dream stones, so far it seems like it's mostly a novelty with great game mechanics. And I don't want to undersell the fact that instead of being a normal platformer with an attack button, they did give you a unique offensive option that changes the way the game works on a fundamental level. I've just played other games like this before, like Mischief Makers or Silhouette Mirage. But there is something to be said for an action platformer that not only exists without an attack button, but thrives because instead of the attack button, there is an alternate method of offense. And we're about to approach the reason why I love this level. We're going to skip the cutscene, though. So this giant robot chases us, and it will kill us if it catches up to us. And the game transforms. Normally, this game is a 2D platformer with a weird offense mechanic, where you can take your time in each room slowly getting used to what you need to do and solving the puzzles, figuring out how things work. But then this happens, and you can't do that anymore. Suddenly, the weird controls and the weird ideas this game presents that you have time to get used to. You don't have time to get used to anymore. You have to show that you understand all this weird shit the game wants you to do. And you have to be able to collect all the gems while you're at it if you want the special art unlockable that you get. Look, I know an art unlockable might not sound like a lot, but it's very pretty. But the point is that the nuances of every mechanic come out. How long the hover lasts, how quickly you can jump off of things after grabbing them with your wind ring, how the trampolines function, what's the earliest time you can jump off a trampoline without accidentally hovering over it. Every mechanic suddenly matters a lot more, and so does your understanding of them. Like, for example, with those green things with wings that we occasionally grab to get height, if you press the jump button immediately after grabbing them, you can bounce higher. If you wait a bit before jumping off of them, then they get pulled down by Klonoa's weight, so you don't jump as high. That's really cool. That's a nuance to what's essentially in other games just a ladder. And then there's shit like this. Granted, I missed the first time, but I wouldn't have the opportunity to miss if that thing was chasing me, so it should have been, is what I'm saying, because that's the fun part. But yeah, understanding the enemies, how your wind ring interacts with them, and how all the mechanics play together is crucial to grabbing all of the gems, and that's why grabbing all of the gems is important. And why grabbing all of the gems while being chased by that giant robot is even better, because you don't just have to understand all of the mechanics anymore, you got to understand them fast. I love rhythm in any game, and when games go faster like that and force the player to be fast, they generally feel more like rhythm games. You've seen the way I play Sonic games. I just like when 2D platformers are all about rhythm. Not that there aren't other good ways to make a 2D platformer, but it remains the fact that when you're forced to go fast, you have to quickly read the situation. And the way you read the situation in this game is different from in other games, which makes it even more appealing to me. And that's just why I like this level in particular. As for the rest of the game up until this level, the only other level that was really like this was a water slide level in the Joyland section of the game. Joylant? Joylant. It's Joylant, not Joyland. That's a little too on the nose. And it's just a combination of three things that make me love this section so much. You have to go fast and platform good. You have to be able to understand and immediately process what you need to do with this game's weird mechanics. And you have to be able to collect all the gems. Now, that last one is not something you have to do if you're just playing the game like a normal person. You just have to do the first two. You have to understand this game's weird mechanics and be able to execute them quickly. But the third one only helps with the other two. The game experience is almost completely different if you bother getting all the dream stones or gems or whatever in each level. Because there are so many platforming challenges that you only have to complete if you want those dream stones. And completing those platforming challenges helps you understand the mechanics on a deeper level, helps you understand the fundamentals of the platforming physics better. It just makes you better at the core game. And I don't think that I find this level fun where other people find it frustrating just because I'm better at games. I think it's because I bothered to get all the dream stones in previous levels. This is my second favorite section of the level, by the way. It does not test your ability to do things super fast necessarily, but there is a degree of quickness because that thing's moving back and forth towards you. It more tests your understanding of the hover and the various trampoline-like objects, including the tornadoes. What height they give you, how they can be used to your advantage. Really, it's just an exercise in timing, an exercise in understanding what you've been given up until this point. It's so much better than the actual boss in this world. This is the actual boss in this world as far as I'm concerned. But this bit, he's just jumping up and down. This doesn't count for anything. As I was told, a lot of people find this level frustrating, and I can understand why, especially if they didn't bother collecting all the dream stones, which I bet few people would bother to collect them all since they essentially just unlock art. But if you collect them all, you'll be a lot better at the game, and I think you'll have a much better time with the harder levels as a result. In addition to collecting the Dreamstones just being fun, I wish checkpoints were more frequent in this game because collecting some of the Dreamstones can be difficult and you want to restart faster, but it's a pretty sweet game so far. I just really, really like this level in particular, and I'm excited to play the rest. So yeah, that's how I feel about Klonoa 2 so far, I guess. To the tune of the level I've enjoyed the most. Probably only gets better.